What's up, everybody? Chris Walder here for WrestlingRumors.net. For Wrestling Warm-Up, no, I am not Doug McDonald. Unfortunately, Spike TV cut him from our programming, so he's off looking for other work. And I will regret saying that, especially if he shows up later, which he's supposed to do. Yeah, at Walder Sports, Chris Walder, the resident Canadian of WrestlingRumors.net, here to talk so much news in the world of wrestling because we had a very busy day, a lot of stuff to discuss. As always, we have our esteemed panel, including WrestlingRumors.net, Alex Bisong, the voice of the voiceless. How's it going, buddy?
Very good.
What is that? Like Sideways Bo Dallas? That's a Ryback.
It's a Ryback. Eat, tweet,
Tums?
delete, repeat, sleep.
That's not bad. I never knew he did that.
Big guy.
Anyways, Ed, what's going on? Mr. Delay.
Hey, I am live today. I am live. I could say that for myself, and I'm looking for my #1 fan from last week. If you're looking for me to do some audiobooks so you can enjoy yourself a little more, feel free to tweet me.
Do not listen to a word he just said. Just do the opposite of what he just said. I don't even know what he said, so it's fine. Mr. Troll. More hood.
What?
You know you're a troll, damn it.
Thanks, Heyman. Thanks, Paul Heyman.
Thanks, Paul Heyman. Thanks, Chris Walder. Yeah.
You're welcome, buddy.
Keep believing. Keep believing.
And we have the Nick and Brian show, but neither of them are here today. We have Andrew, though, wearing a very nice crown.
My clients, Nick and Brian, are here.
Oh, for the love of God! This is happening.
Believe in the MB show.
What does this show turn into? Now we're getting like entrances. That was actually pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie. I had no idea they were standing there the entire time. But yeah, Patrick, what's going on, bro?
Oh my God, what are we doing, Chris? What the hell are we doing?
I don't have a Mister for you though. I need a Mister. What do you want to be called? Mister what? Mister Poster? Mister? Is that Star Wars in the background?
Yeah. Call me Mr. 3 for 8 because that's what I was when I guest subbed on the Battleground picks. So we'll just go Mr. 3 for 8 right now.
Jesus.
Oh yeah, you only had 3 right. Wow.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I
even
feel like
I
he's
wasn't
on
that bad.
much. Hey, I won
feel
it.
better about my
I think I
picks.
won. So, anyways, and we have a first-time guest in the house, long-time watcher, first-time joiner, I guess if that's the word. Ryan Burke.
What's up? I am the punk that will never, ever, ever, ever leave you off. Again.
Thank you. Well, we've had enough punks leave us. Our hearts can only take so much. We do have our resident punk now. So hopefully you join us from here on out. We always love, and this goes to anybody watching. If you're tuning in right now, you can actually join the panel. What's stopping you? And what's stopping whoever's moving their mic? Walder takes no guff here on the show, by the way.
There's gonna be a muting
Doug goes
pretty
easy.
soon.
There's gonna be a huge muting. Yeah, I said guff. You ever watch The Simpsons?
Yeah,
Guff.
the beer.
And Nelson
Yes.
gets beat up for guff. But anyways,
muting spree.
today on Wrestling Warm-Up, the first thing we're going to talk about is, ironically, not a WWE story, because the big news coming from early this morning, TMZ reported that Spike TV is actually ending their television deal with TNA, and now no longer will TNA Impact be airing on the channel. That deal is going to run through October, so the company, Dixie Carter and company, has a lot of time to find a new network to call home. But right now, things aren't looking so good. So I'm going to open the floor. What were your thoughts when you heard that TNA's deal ran out? Were you happy? Were you upset? Were you impartial? What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, you got to give credit to Mike Killam of WrestleZone because he's the one that actually broke the story late last night.
Absolutely.
For me, I guess this is didn't we kind of see this coming? I mean, TNA, has tried for the longest to be, what WCW was to WWE in the 90s, but unfortunately, I guess, with Hogan leaving, Sting leaving, and now rumors of Angle possibly leaving and coming, back to WWE. I mean, I think it was just only a matter of time. It's really sad when I think I read earlier online that a replay of Bellator on Spike TV was getting higher ratings than an actual live TNA program. That's
pretty sad.
Yeah, when you get to that point, you might as well just throw in the towel.
But here's the thing, TNA Impact was still drawing 1 million viewers, and there's probably at least a couple of networks out there that might be enticed by that and might want to bring them on, but like you said, Bellator was outdrawing them. I can't name one guy from Bellator. I mean, I follow mixed martial arts a little bit, but I mean, I try and stay away from that second league stuff compared to Ultimate Fighting. But yeah, sorry?
Isn't Quentin Rampage Jackson in Bellator?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why
I
they
don't
brought
really
him in.
care.
Tito Ortiz, never forget.
Tito
That's
Ortiz.
the reason why they brought him in. It was terrible cross promotion, but that was what their attempt was.
Bobby Lashley is on their front webpage.
Really?
Yeah.
He's the current champion of TNA, okay? And that's he is actually the world heavyweight champion. He beat Eric Young unannounced on an episode of TNA Impact, and all of a sudden he's the world champion. That's a shock to me too. I was completely unaware up until like a week ago, but apparently this is pretty recent. To the newbie Ryan, I'll ask you this: where were you when you heard the news? What do you think about TNA going off the air in October?
I was messing with my computer. No, I was on Twitter. My reaction, I mean, it is shocking because I don't see what Spike original program they really have that can replace that. And I don't know anything is like, I don't think it'll affect, I don't think TNA was ever competition for WWE, so I don't think it will affect WWE worse or better. And I just hope something works out, because I have been kind of a TNA fan, but I've been kind of a love-hate relationship, probably like everybody else with it.
Right, and I just want to point this out to everyone. I got a lot of tweets earlier was saying that TNA kind of going under. There's no longer any competition. There's a big difference between being competition and being just kind of like a second organization, just huddling up for warmth with everybody else. WCW, they were competition. They were beating WWE in the ratings. TNA was never competition. And if you want proof of that, just go to like Billy Kidman's Twitter account. He said himself, as good as TNA is with their talent, they never really posed a threat to us. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. Now to the Nick and Brian show. I actually joined you guys earlier. The World Heavyweight Champion, the IC Champion, the King of Kings sitting in the middle. What do you guys think? You guys expressed your opinions earlier on TNA. If you guys just want to kind of go through that again.
Yeah, pretty much. It was pretty disappointing whenever I saw that, TNA is now getting canceled. Although it was a couple months ago, right at the end of 2013, me and Brian joined you guys on Wrestling Warm-Up, and one of the questions was, will TNA make it through 2014? I think I was the only one that said it will. Yeah. And I still go by it. I think it might. There's a lot of networks out there like Eye on Television that wanted main event, Universal.
Universal
NBC.
HD, yeah.
And a lot of little networks that could sign TNA.
That's NBC. They're not going to sign TNA.
They're already in WWE. I said there's a lot of other networks
You
just
need
like
Universal.
It was
NBC. I'm the world champion here, right?
Oh, you know what? This is all these two did on the NB show earlier. They just went back and forth. People were tweeting me because I was running their social media account. Oh, it's so cute, and Nick and Brian go back and forth. No, it's a lie. And I know who that person was who said that. But yeah, any other thoughts? Just feel free to chime in.
Here's no good.
I was just, shocked when I just woke up, checked the internet, and see that, Spike TV has canceled TNA. I mean, I just started getting back into it, so kind of like brokenhearted.
Seriously?
I guess Spike didn't believe enough in TNA.
You and
Wow.
Now it just even Bo Dallas is getting sick of that just because But Andrew, I just want to ask quick, what was it about the TNA that was keeping you interested?
The New York tapings really got me back into it, because that's what I've been waiting for. And I don't think they've had, other than Dixie Carter segments, I don't think they've had a bad segment yet in the New York taping.
Fair enough. I mean, I actually haven't watched it. Has anyone else seen the last couple of episodes?
They're not bad.
I saw last week, and it wasn't bad. It's just it wasn't really introducing too much. I mean, the main event was just the stereotypical, just interference, ugly ending, just nothing too special. My thing about TNA was they were so I don't want to say paranoid, but their booking style was so paranoid about staying in the fight that they were grasping at straws between bringing in the WWE former talents, sampling with different ring sizes, and basically the Hogan and Bischoff era. That it was almost like they basically burned themselves out. Personally, if I was thinking out of the box a little bit, I would consider maybe going to Turner Networks, maybe TBS or TNT. A lot of their weekday programming is syndication of sitcoms between Big Bang Theory and some original stuff. But I would consider maybe going to Turner Networks. Although the thing is that they gotta be able to sell that they're not in the competition era of going against Vince. I mean, this is basically kiddie pool versus the ocean at this point.
Right.
So that's what you sell them on. It's like, you know what, this is going to be sustainable programming to basically mix up with the sitcoms, and that's what we're really offering. You can't be trying to shoot for the moon on this one.
And here's the thing: no matter what network TNA ends up with, even if they do find a network, they're not going to get the financial support that Spike TV was going to give them. I think they're going to see a lot of roster cuts. I think they're going to see a lot of production costs go down. Kind of pulling at WWE. If you've seen WrestlingRumors.net today, we reported, nice segue, Walter, that there was even more budget cuts on the horizon, starting up with the executives and kind of moving their way down with costs like that. But yeah, not a good time to be in TNA right now. And I'll close this topic off with you, B-Song. Is there anyone in the company that you really blame for the way all of these events have transpired? Is there one person you can blame, or is it just like a group of collective mistakes?
I don't know. I'd say it's more of a group, but management as a whole, with Dixie Carter at the helm, is just terrible. But one person that you should not blame, that a lot of people blame just because they're idiots, is Vince Russo. He deserves little to no blame because when he did come on as this consultant or whatever, TNA was already a sinking ship.
Exactly. The same thing with WCW.
But they still have...
That's a really strange cop-out, too, that if rumors are true that Spike TV was saying that Russo was the reason that they weren't going to renew, because there really wasn't too much you can see in what was going on with their programs that made you think it was Russo booking.
Yeah, seriously, guys, don't believe everything you hear. We were having a WrestlingRumors.net chat just kind of amongst the group of us, and apparently it turned out that Russo was made aware of TNA and the Spike TV agreement kind of falling through the same time everyone else was when TMZ came out with the report, or when, like Patrick said with Mike Kinlan kind of breaking the story earlier that day. But I'm just going to go through the entire group here and just get a quick answer. Do you guys think TNA will find a new deal, Alex?
No, probably not.
Probably not. Ed?
Yes, but minimalized.
Warhood?
No.
Nick and Brian and Andrew?
I say yes.
Yes.
Yes, it's all around. Mr. Patrick?
I believe.
I got to jump on Ed's bandwagon. I'd say yes, but minimalized.
Minimalized, awesome. And Ryan, last but not least?
I'd say yes, but I think they'll probably go to an online stream first of some sort.
That's always a possibility. I mean, Impact kind of aired on their website for a little bit when they were trying to find a different network, but they can't sustain like that. They're not like PewDiePie or something with like 29 million subscribers. They can't, have an online show and try and make money off of that. It's not going to work. But
the thing is, too...
Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry. I was going to say, the thing is, too, is that if they go to that, they got to minimalize their pay-per-view charges, because if you're going just to computer-based, you can't be charging $45 for the pay-per-views. So that's why the best option that they have to possibly salvage anything is to stay on network TV or cable TV.
Is that how much the pay-per-views were? They were like $45?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, they're still $45.
No wonder they're going down. Jesus Christ, I wouldn't pay $45 for a TNA pay-per-view. I don't even want to pay it for a WWE pay-per-view. That's a lot of money. But they were spreading them out. They were doing less and less, and they were trying to put, like, Destination X is apparently this week, correct?
Final Destination X.
Final. Is that what? Final.
I stole that from someone. I am going to steal that from someone.
Don't give it back to them because it wasn't good.
That was a good one.
I've never seen Final Destination anyway, but yeah, moving on from TNA because that's probably the most we've ever discussed TNA on this show, especially for a Raw pre-show. The number one story on WWE.com this morning, something that I've never really seen them break, with the exception of maybe the Kenta story, is Fergal Devitt, better known on the independent scene as Prince Devitt, has signed his contract with World Wrestling Entertainment. He's going to be heading to NXT immediately. And now I know who the moaner is here on the show. We had this problem last week. It's Patrick, who's actually come on the show. What's up, buddy?
What's up? I just have a cold. I'm sorry.
You have a cold? It's all right, man.
Sure.
Try and keep
She
the
just
moaning
enjoys me, even though it's
down.
my commentary.
I get a cold
yeah,
every day.
I don't know how many of you gentlemen are aware or have seen Prince Devitt work in the past, but he's actually one of my favorite independent workers. I watched him in Japan competing with the Bullet Club. You know, if you've ever seen his YouTube stuff, he usually puts paint all over his body dressing up as like famous comic book characters. He even dressed up as Venom, the Joker. He's a super cool guy, Irish with a very strong accent, so maybe we'll see him team up with Sheamus. I don't know, but to anyone out there on the panel who knows of Prince Devitt, what are your thoughts? Are you excited that he's come to WWE officially?
For imported talents, like that are in NXT right now, I am more excited than any import that NXT has right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I'm that high on him.
Are we including like the Sami Zayns and the Adrian Nevilles of the world, because they're imports as well?
Definitely Adrian Neville. Sami Zayn, that's
okay.
close. I know this is a shock, like, because I know everyone is like super high on him. I don't see what people get with Adrian Neville. So, and I'm sorry, like,
Not again.
I'm not that down on him, but
He
I don't
looks
know.
like an elf from Lord of the Rings.
Who, Adrian Neville?
Yeah, looks like
Yeah,
Legolas.
he has elf-like feature. He looks like Legolas.
Yeah.
Give him a bow and arrow. That'll be
Wow.
his gimmick on Raw, you know.
Um,
Fight Smog and all that. That's his name, right? The Dragon Smog.
Here's my thing about when I read about Prince Devitt, and it's sort of with the Kenta as well. And I don't know much about these guys, so I'm curious about them. But my thing is with those two, and I looked at the age. Is it possible that they're shooting a little too high on these guys, just in regards to possibly a limited shelf life with these talents? I mean, we're looking at guys that are in their low 30s at this point, and I mean now they're in developmental for potentially 6 months to a year at the least. Are they possibly catching these talents too late, or are we looking for a short-term bonus with these imports?
Well, Patrick, do you want to answer that question, Patrick? You there, Patrick?
Which one?
Which one?
Just
There's
asked.
two of us here now.
The one Ed just asked, the shelf life of these superstars in NXT.
Well, it was a general question. I mean,
okay, well, if anyone wants to, feel free to answer the question. Go right ahead.
You have more of a shelf life with can't say his name, Kenta, because you just released your Japanese sort of like major star in Yoshitatsu, who's their market moneymaker, a la Kali.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you can last longer.
Yoshitatsu was never a major star, by the way.
But you know what I was trying to say.
He had international credibility, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you're doing a Japanese tour, you obviously want someone from Japan to be on the roster. I still feel in my heart of hearts that Kenta's only there because they're trying to reach some sort of video packaging agreement with Japan wrestling companies. They want to bring that over to the WWE network, but I do hope they use guys like Kenta and Prince Devitt to their fullest potential. Nick and Brian and Andrew, what are your thoughts? Prince Devitt, we talked about this earlier as well.
WWE is about to get Fergalicious.
Oh, you know what? We're moving on after that.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Okay, I'll be nice.
That
Look,
was so
Andrew,
worse
even
than
Andrew's
Destination
embarrassed. He has
Next.
his hands over his face. He's
No.
just like, what am I
I'm
doing
so
sitting
sorry.
Why am I called the troll? Why am I called the troll?
Yeah, you're losing your spot, Warhood. But yeah, do you guys have any quick thoughts about Prince Devitt, Nick, Brian, Andrew?
John said earlier that he doesn't see with Adrian Neville, I think. I'm on the same page as you. I don't see the appeal that he has. I see that he's a high flyer, but who's the last high flyer to succeed? I think
Rey
further than
Mysterio,
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam, I mean, Shawn Michaels. They were all technically high flyers.
8 years ago.
Well, I mean, I think size has a lot to do with it too. You can only pull off kind of the underdog thing for so long.
Would you throw
They
Jeff
just did it
Hardy
with
as a high
Daniel
flyer in there too?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he's not the biggest dog in the
I
fight.
comes back to him, but
They're possibly experimenting with that right now with Rollins. I mean, Rollins, technically speaking, is more of a high fly talent.
Right. But Rollins has a terrific physique as well. I mean, I'm not checking him out or anything, but the guy is built. And same with Adrian Neville. I think that's good. What's going to help him on the main roster as well? The fact that he's just like he has the body of a professional wrestler. He's not very lanky. You know, has a defined chest, big arms. I think that's going to help him a long way. Ryan, are you a Prince Devitt guy, or have you seen any of his work in the past?
I have not. Really, in my opinion, I think they're probably bringing him in at the moment just for expanding the WWE network when they go over there. That's my opinion. I think it's just short term at the moment.
You think because of his Irish background, you mean?
Well, no, because I bet they're expanding the network to probably Ireland and maybe Japan, and that's why they're bringing them in.
That's true, but they always have Sheamus. I mean, they can just overexpose Sheamus like they always do. But yeah, that's a valid point, you know, because the WWE network will be heading overseas eventually, and if you want to, you know, kind of endorse the product, you might as well bring an Irish guy to, you know, appeal to the European market. Alex, have you ever seen Prince Devitt before? Were you excited about the news, or did you not really care?
No, I've seen some of his work. I am a bit excited about it, but it just goes to show they're stacked in terms of developmental talent. I mean, they just brought in Kevin Steen, Kenta, like we said before. They are stacked in terms of developmental talent at the moment.
And just to finish off the topic, I'm just going to run through the panel here. Of the three guys, because there are three big names heading to NXT in the near future, Prince Devitt, Kenta, and Kevin Steen, who we've never really discussed here on the show, but he just finishes up his days with Ring of Honor. It looks like he's going to be heading to NXT as well. Which of those three guys do you think is going to make it to the main roster first? Alex?
I'd say Steen.
Ed?
I'll take Steen.
Warwood?
Steen.
Did I catch you eating something?
Yes, you did. I thought putting the symbol down on my mic would have been good enough.
You're not that sneaky, Warwood.
You can't get away with that on this show, okay? The McDonald isn't around. I don't put up. Oh, now he's showing the flag because he's patriotic.
No,
Nick.
I
Nick
hate
Andrew
everyone.
and Nick Andrew and Brian. Which of the three?
Prince Devitt. Steen.
Steen? Patrick?
I'll say Steen.
Or one of the Patricks. Okay, now the other Patrick.
I'm not familiar with any one of the three that just got signed, so I will jump on the bandwagon and say Steen.
Bandwagoner.
Look what I started.
Sorry,
And, it's all good. And Ryan?
I'll say Sting too because I'm not familiar with the other two, and obviously I think Kenta is going to have the language barrier. And
yeah, that's true too. Unless he just
You know what they did with Kaitai and just dub.
Yeah, oh, come on. That's not the head gimmicks. My answer is going to be Prince Devitt. I just think Ryan made an excellent point with the Irish background that helps with the network. I think he's the most ready anyways, so I think that's a good selection. But honestly, either of the three, they're all going to make it to the main roster eventually. I think there's too much talent there to discount, and if WWE books them correctly, the roster's going to be stacked in another year or two. And if not, you know, NXT. Impact can't compete with that anyway, so NXT is going to be a fun watch over the next year or so, seeing all of this talent come in. And now we move on to Monday Night Raw last week. We're finally getting to the flagship show of WWE, Monday Night Raw, and last week it ended. Ironically, I haven't seen this in a while. It ended with a promo. You had Paul Heyman coming out. It was announced that Brock Lesnar is the new #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and it is official. Lesnar versus Cena at SummerSlam. They're really going to try and hype this thing up, even though Cena, I don't know if it's this week, but I think at least it's going to be next week where he's not going to be on the show. So not having him there and not having him interact with Lesnar will hurt. What were your guys' thoughts? Are you excited that we're getting Brock Lesnar versus Cena for the title? What are your thoughts?
Heyman's best promo ever.
Yeah, it's certainly up there. I really dug the one he did right after WrestleMania. When he talked about Lesnar ending the streak, and you know how there's like superstars and there's Hall of Famers, but there's only the one, and I'm the man behind the one. I thought that was magical, and we reported, you know, Paul Heyman got a lot of praise backstage when he cut that promo last week, saying, you know what, if the main event wasn't sold already, you just basically put the nail in the coffin. That thing is going to make us a ton of money. But yeah, anybody else? What are your thoughts? Brock Lesnar versus Cena at SummerSlam.
Tempered excitement. Because of what you and what we've talked about in the past with the potential bind that they're in with Lesnar with his booking. They got to book him strong, but they still have the title to deal with potential scheduling issues going into the fall. So it's tempered excitement. I'm going to enjoy it right up until, and you know what? If nothing else, we have no idea where this main event's going. So it definitely, Heyman's promos can create gold. But I think if nothing else, the expectations, or at least the suspense, even being news people, we have no idea what to expect. So yeah, I'm excited. But after that, it'll be chaos.
What about you, Mr. B Song? Are you looking forward to Lesnar Cena? I mean, we've already seen this match before.
Yes, but with the title on the line now and being so unpredictable, at least for now, because today I do believe Lesnar's not advertised to appear, but we have nothing final on that yet, so it might just be Cena and Heyman working on the stick. So I'm excited for the overall build-up to the feud to see if it can live up, even though these guys are going to miss some shows, but should be good.
And Nick, Brian, and Andrew, I think the WWE is in a quarry right now, don't you think? Because can you really afford Brock Lesnar to lose this match?
That's what the hard part is. I don't think Lesnar is being built at all for a chance to lose this match because he just defeated the Streak. This is his next match, and he's going against the world champion. Now, if Daniel Bryan was that world champion, you would easily assume Lesnar's going to defeat the underdog. But now that Cena, it kind of makes you wonder a little bit, and what makes you wonder even more is once Lesnar wins that title, Seth Rollins has the briefcase, and can you ever picture Rollins beating up Brock Lesnar and winning the title?
Well, let's just make sure. Let's just enjoy it while we can, because Cena's days are numbered as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So are Ric Flair's record of 16-time champion. So
17.
No,
Well, 17 would break it. 16
Oh,
would
17
yeah.
would break it. Okay.
So Brock Lesnar is going over at SummerSlam. I hope to see maybe an F5 from Cena, an FU from AA from Lesnar.
Whoa, let's keep the language here. F you. WWE doesn't tolerate that anymore.
That's AA.
Have a,
Yeah, there you go, Pat. Yeah.
a WrestleMania type feel to it. It's gonna be a great match, and it'll probably be one of the better SummerSlam matches that we've seen in the past.
Hey, remember last year at SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk was one of the best matches they had all year. But I think a lot of the credit goes to CM Punk. I think you have to put the right guy with Brock Lesnar, and CM Punk was the perfect opponent for him at that time. The fact that Cena versus Lesnar at Extreme Rules when Lesnar first returned was so great. I think the fact that it was an Extreme Rules match and Lesnar was just able to, allowed to be himself and just be that dominant force and beat the crap out of Cena until he obviously eventually made his comeback. But Nick and Brian brought up a big point with Seth Rollins. Ryan, do you think kind of Seth Rollins gets involved in this whole picture? Because I think he might have to.
Did you say Ryan or Brian?
Yeah, Ryan, yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, do you think Seth Rollins gets involved in this whole match? Because, with all of the worries about, Lesnar trying to hold the belt, maybe this would be the perfect time for Rollins to cash in.
I don't think so, because I don't see the appeal for a Lesnar Rollins match, and honestly, I don't want to see Rollins and Cena yet. I just don't think he's at the level to where a Cena feud would, for some reason, would work out.
And the first Patrick, the Mr. Spiky Hair Patrick, I'll ask you this, especially during
That's good.
Spiky Hair Patrick, I'll call you that.
There we go.
Yeah, especially during the summer months, we always have, maybe this is the perfect time to kind of put the belt on a champion, kind of test the waters, see if he can hold down the fort. Do you think maybe this would be a good time for Rollins to carry the gold, or do you think it's too soon?
I know it's been said a lot by a lot of the people on the panel in their various, shows and on here that, Lesnar needs to, be around for the title. I myself think it's way too soon for Rollins to cash in Money in the Bank. I would like to see him hold it till maybe around TLC. And I've, gone on record on this program saying that I think Reigns will be World Heavyweight Champion at TLC. I think that would be a nice cash-in spot all the way there because you need something to hype in going into Royal Rumble. But as we've also said that WWE's backed themselves into a corner in this instance because right now Lesnar can't lose because that derails all the momentum he got picked up at WrestleMania for beating the streak. And if when Lesnar wins, all the news is basically they're booking Night of Champions to be a second style of WrestleMania this year.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I don't see them flip-flopping back and forth where Cena regains the title at Night of Champions. I think that's just, it's very stupid booking. But maybe in October, maybe Lesnar drops the title, maybe he even holds it all the way to Survivor Series.
Other Patrick, do you agree with first Patrick? I thought there was a numerical rank, but it just helps me out.
Could they book it like they booked Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, have Lesnar win, and just walk with the title, crown a new champ, and by Royal Rumble, whoever has it, Lesnar comes out and says he's the real champ with the belt, and that's how he keeps the belt, never loses it?
You know what? That's actually not a bad idea.
I was actually thinking something
Lesnar wins. Yeah, that's actually a great idea. Lesnar wins at SummerSlam, and he just leaves with the title, just saying, "I'm just going to hold the belt hostage" or whatever.
There's no one worthy of me.
Is that almost like the way Punk did it in 2011?
Yes.
Yeah. Well,
it was like a month.
Yeah. Well, Punk left because his contract had expired. It wasn't.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was essentially the same gist, though. I mean, he left, and they crowned a new champion, and then he came back.
Why not?
Right. That's what I'm talking. Yeah, that's what they should do.
I have an idea.
Yeah, sure, go for it, Andrew.
So,
Please be a good idea.
Brock Lesnar is Plan C. Brock Lesnar has never said that he wanted the title. Paul Heyman said that he's the #1 contender. But what if Lesnar just comes out and destroys John Cena and wins by DQ, and then Rollins cashes in?
So you're saying basically that Brock Lesnar has zero interest in winning the belt, and all he does at SummerSlam is just beat the holy hell out of Cena, and then Rollins comes out and picks up the belt.
Lesnar is working for the Authority.
Right.
And Rollins is...
Does anyone have any thoughts about that? Is that a good idea?
No, Perlman said that he won the title, though.
That's what I was worried about. That's what I was worried about.
He's going to come out and stop him, because they've still got their feud going on. He'll stop that.
Yeah.
You think so?
That's what I was thinking with this booking was every match that Lesnar's had has had some sort of a no holds barred, no DQ variable to it. They got to get that in at some point. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to restrain. He wrestles in that sort of style, with the exception of WrestleMania. So, right. I mean, I'm not saying it's plausible, but they got to throw that caveat in there just to basically straighten things out.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect ending. And just to close off this topic quick, I'm just going to ask each and every one of you, for right now, this is just a very early prediction. How do you think the SummerSlam main event between Lesnar and Cena ends? Just a quick sentence. Alex.
Lesnar beats Cena clean.
Ed.
I honestly don't know. That's what I said. It's a lot in the air.
All right, Warhood.
Brock beats Cena clean.
Interesting. Andrew, Nick, Brian.
I'm taking Andrew's idea, because Brock Lesnar's never come out and said that he wants to win the title.
I think Brock Lesnar's going to win clean.
Lesnar wins because my idea was just fantasy booking.
But it actually wasn't bad, so I'll give you that. Patrick, #1.
Lesnar by pinfall.
Patrick, #2.
Lesnar clean, but at least 3 F5s to put Cena away.
I'm going to pull in an Undertaker there. And Ryan?
Lesnar clean. Because Cena beat him clean last time, right?
Yep. I believe so, yes. That might be taken into account as well. You know, do you really want Cena to beat the most dominant guy in WWE twice cleanly? I don't think that makes any sense. I agree with the majority of you. I think Brock Lesnar becomes champion at SummerSlam. As far as the Money in the Bank, that still remains to be seen. But you can't have the guy who just ended The Undertaker's winning streak lose his first match afterwards. That just kind of diminishes everything he accomplished at WrestleMania. Lesnar has to go over. And now, just to build off, because Patrick brought it up with Roman Reigns, we reported today at WrestlingRumors.net that there's a lot of backstage heat on Mr. Randy Orton, because over the weekend at a couple of live events, it appeared that Randy Orton was trying to use a lot of, the rest holds during his match with Roman Reigns, and it was making him look weak. And now, during a time where WWE needs Roman Reigns to be that kind of main eventer, the last thing you want to do is make him look bad. And now all signs are pointing towards SummerSlam on August 17th. it looks like we are going to be getting Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton one-on-one, and Triple H versus Roman Reigns will be held off for Night of Champions. Is this a good idea? Should they go for the Triple H match right away, or are they doing the smart thing, doing the slow build with Orton, and then going to the more important pay-per-view because of the network, Night of Champions against Triple H?
Well, slow build has worked before.
Who's the biggest star? If Triple H is the biggest star than Orton, then you save him for the bigger pay-per-view. Simple as that.
Right. Anyone else?
The thing is that you gotta be able to hold Reigns through the fall, even if they just do decide to go with TLC. You got to hold him through Hell in a Cell and Survivor Series. As much as I hate to say it, I mean, Randy Orton still is a credible name, as much as we don't think about it too much because he's always tied to Triple H. He is still a credible name. He's, 9, 10-time champion. So,
12.
I mean, yeah, he's 12. Okay, so 12. He's 12-time champion. So it is a credible win. But yeah, Rest Hold Randy is once again showing up, and his matches have become so stagnant over the last 6 months. They're impossible to watch, for me at least.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
There's still Batista in that hanging there.
Batista won't be coming back until after his whole Guardians of the Galaxy shtick is over. By the way, Rotten Tomatoes is giving that movie an incredible rating. I cannot wait to see this thing. Every movie review I've seen so far has praised it. Even Batista is getting credit for his acting chops in this thing. I can't wait to see it. If you're not excited for it, I don't want to know you.
And they also signed him on Batista and the movie on for a sequel.
Yes, Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy isn't even out, and they've already announced that the sequel is going to be released on July 28th, 2017. And I only know that because I reported it earlier this morning.
Marvel's got the money.
Yeah, I mean, it's Marvel. Any superhero movie that has the Marvel name attached to it is going to make big bucks. And now, you see with the Superman and Batman, they're trying to kind of market that for a while, and they just debuted a new trailer, I think, at San Diego Comic-Con. Nerd alert, hashtag nerd alert, Walter. It's all good. That's what we talk about here. We talk about anything. We're just shooting the wind here. But, yeah, sorry.
Can we also, I think, just because we're on the topic of Randy Orton, I think this tweet should have been mentioned. He said he teased something happening on Raw tonight with him.
Yeah, he did.
He said, I don't say this kind of stuff often, but you can count on hashtag the Viper striking tonight. Period.
Yep.
Hashtag
That's what he just tweeted.
He retaliates on
He tweeted that a little while ago.
2 hours ago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. The Viper's going to strike. Look, this match with Roman Reigns is obviously going to happen, but I'll pose this question to you, Ryan. With the reviews at the WWE live events not being so great for Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, do you like this pairing? Do you think these two can have chemistry and put on a decent match?
I do, because to build up Reigns, I mean, Orton's a really good. Even though the reviews might not be good in the grand scheme of things, I think it'll help build up Reigns in the long term, and especially since I think Reigns is going to win the Rumble next year.
Right.
I think it's just going to help build him up to that point to where he'll win that and hopefully get the championship at Mania. Because I think he'll be.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Roman Reigns is the early favorite to win the Royal Rumble, and I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time trying to convince me otherwise. Nick, Brian, and Andrew, your thoughts on Randy Orton? Do you think there's any kind of secret motives with Orton trying to hold back Reigns, because he's being pushed as the man and not Orton?
I don't know, because I think that's. I don't really like the idea of having Randy Orton being. I mean, let me spit this out. It's putting him in a bad light, too. Okay? Having a bad match with Roman Reigns, you can't throw the entire match, on Roman Reigns. It's also on Randy Orton. I believe it's 50-50 if they're having bad matches. But I don't like the idea that they're going to have Randy Orton lose, probably, at SummerSlam, and then have Roman Reigns face Triple H. Because if Triple H is picking, the face of the WWE, and he's picking Randy Orton, it's putting it as Triple H is bigger than Randy Orton. Now, he might be the bigger star, but nowadays it shouldn't be that way. Triple H shouldn't be looked at as the bigger star. It should be the current star of Randy Orton. How do you guys feel?
Randy Orton has...
Yeah, do you agree with him, Brian, Andrew?
Randy Orton has been fresh since the Legend Killer. I think, Chris, you said a while ago when we had you on our show that out of everybody, Randy Orton needs to take some time off and get not even repackaged. Just like people forget about him for a couple months and return at a pay-per-view. It doesn't have to be the Royal Rumble because that's been overkilled. But return at a pay-per-view as a face or maybe as a super heel, and then people will start to care about him more. Because this, him taunting in the middle of his matches just to draw attention, not even because there's no heel heat going on at all in any time in his matches. He just taunts at the ring rope to draw some reaction. So I think that has to stop because it's getting annoying.
Do you agree with that, B-Song? Do you think Randy Orton is kind of in a desperate need of some retooling, or do you think maybe he just needs some time off?
I don't know. He may need time off. He may just need a complete repackaging. I would love to see them bring the Legend Killer back. I mean, we've discussed in the chat about Sting. An Orton-Sting match, although many people would hate it, he was actually like a top 3 option to face Sting, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing about Sting. I think if he does compete, it's going to be in one match, and he kind of has his heart set on facing Undertaker. But if that falls through, I think Triple H is probably the next best choice, just for someone he can work with efficiently, doesn't have to worry about injury. I mean, we've talked amongst ourselves that Sting versus Bray Wyatt, I think the build-up to that would be absolutely insane and almost perfect just because of the back and forth those two can have. But, yeah, right now I think Sting versus Undertaker seems to be the logical choice. And just as the final question for this segment, we brought this up earlier, Roman Reigns and the Royal Rumble. Right now, as of this recording, do you think Roman Reigns is the favorite to win the Royal Rumble, Alex?
Definitely. For now, I'm a bit worried about the match, this singles match with Randy Orton, because I cannot remember the last time that Reigns wrestled a singles match on a pay-per-view, because he's always been in these multi-man matches in which he gets all these like spots at the end, so I don't know if he can carry a match, but for now, he's definitely the favorite for the Rumble.
That's a very good point, and it almost takes me back to Monday Night Raw a couple of months ago when Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt had a one-on-one match, and the fans were chanting boring. These are two of the guys that WWE wants to push as their future stars, and when they go one-on-one for the first time on free television and they're chanting boring, that's never a good sign. But Ed, about the Royal Rumble, is Roman Reigns your top guy, or is there someone else?
Alex, by the way, I think the answer is 0 for my quick memory. Right now, Reigns is my top pick for the Rumble. Nothing really is going to deter that unless they decide to pull a wild card later in the year.
Of course, and things always change, so you never know what WWE is planning. But of course, Reigns is up there. Warhood, what do you think?
No, I'm going to go with the counter opinion of probably the whole panel and say no. I think you could go a lot of directions with Reigns' character that you don't need to put the belt on him to put a lot of marquee matches in his aura, with him in it.
So you still think he gets a top match at WrestleMania regardless?
Yes, I think you could do that right now with him and build him and hold it off for another year.
Awesome. Nick, Brian, Andrew.
Roman Reigns as the favorite for Royal Rumble? I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Why do I even bother? Like, what am I doing? Like, Doug, come back so you can handle these guys.
I think they stole the trolling title from Warhood.
Bad News Barrett, Royal Rumble winner.
Yeah, I actually.
Bad News Barrett?
Yeah, I agree. That's who I would think. You could. He is going to be returning around that time. I can see him as one of coming back. I don't have a good wrestling brain, but I think that could work.
Well, speaking of guys that are returning, hopefully by that time, we might get the Royal Rumble winner that we wanted last year. Just pointing it out there.
Yeah.
Yes. He said he needs to get another surgery. What?
Yeah, but again, we don't have a timetable
6 months
when he's going to be returning.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got 6 months.
And I don't think it's major surgery that he's going under.
I think it's shoulder surgery.
Arm and a nerve damage he has to get fixed. But yeah, I think that might be settled by Royal Rumble. If not, we might not see him for a while. But fingers crossed. Daniel Bryan was a top guy. We'd all love to see him back in that spot. But Patrick, number one, concerning Reigns, is he your Rumble favorite?
I'm actually going to join Warhood on this and say no. I just want to go on the real quick a personal tangent and just say that I don't think that WrestleManias need now to be the penultimate crowning of a new champion. I like to see crownings of maybe a B pay-per-view, like a Elimination Chamber or a TLC. Hence why I said Reigns winning at TLC. As far as the Royal Rumble winner goes, me. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the whole wide world in his hands.
That could
I would like to say Bray Wyatt would be a possibly good choice to put in there as a Royal Rumble winner. Maybe use that, as his Eater of Worlds gimmick.
What is that?
That's on me.
Keep their door closed.
Yeah, it was my son. Sorry.
Yeah. I can't.
I could see Reigns being one of the top 3 guys, but I would put maybe Bray Wyatt, Bad News Barrett, and then Roman Reigns in there.
And
just my top 3 possible winners.
Remember WrestleMania 21? Obviously the WrestleMania after WrestleMania 20. That was the night that we crowned 2 new world champions and the 2 new faces of the company that kind of held down the fort for the next 7 to 8 years. John Cena.
So you
and
think it's
Batista.
cyclical in 10 years with the
Yeah,
one?
I mean, obviously we can't have John Cena be the top guy forever, and we need someone else to step up.
Yeah, that's true.
And
That's true.
WrestleMania. Yeah, and remember, if Daniel Bryan didn't get hurt, he'd still be getting pushed as probably the face of the company at this point. So WrestleMania, having a moment like that could do wonders for your career, and I think if Roman Reigns gets that opportunity, the sky's the limit for him. But Patrick, number 2.
If Lesnar's the champ, Reigns. If Rollins is the champ, Ambrose. And Daniel Bryan will probably come back to Raw after WrestleMania.
So you're predicting maybe a Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar title match at WrestleMania?
Either way, I think he's fighting Lesnar, no matter if it's for the title or not. I think they want to put him over.
That's pretty. Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. That's a match that I think a lot of us can agree we would love to see, especially on the big stage.
That's my idea too.
But Ryan, to close it off, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm still gonna go with Reigns at Rumble, and because really, if I think about it, I mean, you're gonna get the biggest pop from WrestleMania. In a title change, you'll just get the biggest pop when that happens there. And Bryan, I don't know. I kind of feel like he might come back in the shuffle at Rumble, but I feel like for some reason he's kind of probably died down in the pecking order when it comes to fans right now since he's gone. And I just kind of feel maybe not a heel, but like Chase Reigns with the title next year. Mid and maybe even like I hate to say tweener, but maybe a heel tweener with the fans and have that fan matchup with Bryan fans and Reigns fans.
Your beard is at the top of the camera there.
I was waiting for the reveal of
I mean, you have a really nice goatee, but I mean, we want to see your face as well. But yeah, I totally agree with you. We're running out of time here. We're about 13 minutes away from the Raw pre-show, which you can catch on the WWE Network.
Pre-show.
Which I obviously can't because I'm Canadian. So damn it, let's get that stuff north of the border, please and thank you. One of our last topics here. One of the main stories coming out of Raw last week. Stephanie McMahon was arrested after striking Brie Bella ringside. They got into a little bit of an altercation. Brie Bella called her the B word. Oop, I can't say it because it's so bad. But you know what I'm talking about. And now it looks like Stephanie McMahon has invited Brie Bella to appear on Monday Night Raw tonight. Personally, I think this is going to set up a potential Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella match at SummerSlam. I posted today at WrestlingRumors.net that there might be a stipulation that if Stephanie wins, Nikki Bella loses her job, and if Brie wins, she gets it back. But I must say, the work that these two have been doing, this is one of the most exciting storylines going on in WWE right now. I think Stephanie McMahon has to be considered one of the top heels in the company, which is saying something. She's done tremendous work, and I think she's gotten a lot of mileage out of this feud with Brie Bella. What do you guys think happens tonight between Stephanie and Brie? I mean, they're obviously not going to top what they did last week with the whole arrest, but how do you see things playing out tonight?
Goes pretty much the way you said. It's not. They're not gonna overbook this in the Raws because they still need to sell the mid card and a couple more of the top matches. But yeah, it's gonna be strong. It's gonna be strong mic work, especially from Brie, because that there's gonna be some inclusion of Daniel Bryan in this as well, in her promos, because she's got to basically still reach out to the fans. But I expect some great mic work tonight. And then cool for about a week or two, but yeah, it's gonna be a great match just based on the promo work alone.
Nick, Brian, Andrew, what are your thoughts on Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella and a possible match at SummerSlam?
I like it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be like a main match or anything like that. I think it could be as little as Stephanie McMahon and Triple H start off Raw, and Stephanie just makes reference to it. I mean, they don't have to have a whole segment on it and have to bring in Nikki or Brie again. But if they make subtle reference to it, you're going to see replays of it nonstop like we saw last week. But what do you guys think?
You're gonna have Stephanie call out Triple H, and they're gonna play off that.
Yes.
I don't know if it's gonna be a long time, but they're definitely gonna have their marriage problems. Hopefully they don't get Michael Cole to counsel, but
Oh, please not.
Dr. Shelby.
Let's
Tyson
not get
and
that.
Natalia are gonna get a divorce because of Michael Cole.
Anything with
Yeah,
Stephanie,
seriously, yeah. Brian, you want to chime in?
anything with Stephanie McMahon on a pay-per-view in 2014, it's all gonna work.
You're not a fan of it?
No, I'm a
No, he said solid, as in it's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh, you're
work.
solid. Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah. I mean, Stephanie McMahon. When was the? I think it's been since 2003 since she's actually had a match, and I believe that was against her father. And I quit
Yep,
that
yeah,
SmackDown
yeah.
general managership. So
Right before her wedding.
I'm not just a pretty face. I know my wrestling knowledge. But B-Song, I'll ask you this. Last week we had Renee Young interviewing Triple H, and he wasn't actually urgently trying to get down to the police station to see his wife, who was in desperate need of some assistance. Do you think that even gets brought up at this point? Do you think we're going to start seeing some dissension between husband and wife?
I don't know. Like, I know the Nick and Brian guys hit on this a little bit. I could see them, like, just have another little, like, comedy joke about it, but I don't think they're just going to make this, like, part of the storyline or anything.
We're not going to see Stephanie throw up on anybody again, are we?
God, no.
It's like, I'm so nervous. Like, I got arrested last week. I can't possibly function. And then Vicky Guerrero just pops out of nowhere for no apparent reason, and then Stephanie just pops on her again. Like, that was one of the worst things I've ever seen on WWE Raw. When you start getting vomit, I mean, even TNA was thinking, man, that's too far. And now look where they are. But, yeah, Warhood, what about Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella? Does this get you excited? Is this kind of like, it's just, it's a silly storyline?
Anything with Stephanie gets me excited.
All right, next.
Wait, no, wait.
Whoa.
Stephanie is going to carry this feud.
I'm sorry?
Stephanie's going to carry this. It's not. I don't trust Brie, especially after the whole Kane screaming incident. Stephanie's going to carry this. That's all I really have to say.
Patrick, number one. Do you agree with that, Patrick? Like, do you think that Stephanie has been like the main part, that the reason this storyline is working?
I mean,
does Brie get any credit?
She's going to get maybe a tiny bit of credit, but it's going to be something like we saw last week. I mean, Stephanie, it's amazing, especially in the last year, since this time last year, how well Stephanie McMahon has picked up, the proverbial ball and ran with it as far as becoming, a super heel in the. She really has become the female Vince McMahon of this era right now, and honestly, I applaud her. Her acting chops and everything, especially coming from the days of when she was, co-owner of the Alliance, going all the way back to the Attitude Era.
ECW.
Yes.
Long live the Alliance.
I just remember those dresses.
Yeah, I mean, that's, definitely she has, picked up the proverbial ball and ran with it, and, like I said, has become a female Vince McMahon, and she's definitely going to be carrying this feud.
Patrick, number two. I actually asked this on the NB Show Twitter account earlier. I said Stephanie McMahon might be the biggest heel in WWE right now. Do you agree with that?
Nah, it's Lesnar. She might be too.
How about a full-time performer, someone who's on television every week? Do you think it's Stephanie?
Lana or Stephanie, either one.
Lana? Well, Lana could.
No.
Well, okay. You want to chime in, Andrew? Nick, Brian, Andrew?
You can't call Lana the biggest heel just because she referenced recent events in the Ukraine. Lesnar
At a time like this, you might have to,
But I'm saying she's a heel. That's why Jack Swagger's getting all this face, being a face. It's more heat on them than face heat on him.
I will agree with that. I think a lot of the face rub for Jack Swagger has come from the fact that fans are so against Rusev and Lana at this point. I think a lot of credit has to go to them. I know they're getting the backlash from the newspapers saying, they're going too far with their promos, but I think it's perfect. And neither of them are Russian, so who cares? They're from elsewhere. They're dating. They're a happy couple. Just leave them alone. But with Brian, I'll close this thing off with you. Do you agree? Is Stephanie should she be considered one of the biggest heels in the company right now?
I think so. I mean, especially when this first authorities angle all started last year, it was horrible. But she's definitely come a long way since then. And I would have said Bree's the only involvement and really good part was when she slapped Steph at the pay-per-view. But Steph's slap last week was probably better.
Yeah, these women are not holding back with their slaps. Like, I would not want to be on the receiving end of either of those women. But, yeah, I can't wait for this match at SummerSlam. Just like we said, it's going to be cool just to see Stephanie McMahon back in the ring. Maybe she'll put on some MMA, which she's been training for. She's in tremendous shape for a mother of... How many kids does she have? Like 2 or 3?
Three.
She has 3 kids?
3.
Wow.
3?
Damn, I wish I was in that good shape.
Wow.
Yeah, she has 3 kids. They actually went to Stephanie...
I don't even have kids.
To a Katy Perry concert. And with their daughter, and the funny thing was, Stephanie and Triple H were in the picture and not their daughter. Was she taking the picture? Like who? Like what kind of parents do that? Anyway, I want to point that out there. But Monday Night Raw, the pre-show starts in 5 minutes, so I'm just going to close it off by asking everyone one last thing. Alex, what is your big prediction for Monday Night Raw tonight? What do we see tonight? Could be about anything.
It's not a prediction, it's not a theory, it's not an opinion, it's a rye fact. There's going to be feed me more chance. Enough said.
He's right.
Why did I see that coming? I should have just answered B-Song's comment for him. But you know what? He's a Ryback fan. It's all good, buddy. Ed, what's your big hashtag bold prediction? Monday Night Raw.
Hashtag my bold prediction. We are going to see the growth of the new nation of domination.
Do we see a new member?
Tonight we see Mark Henry.
Interesting.
You want a bold prediction? A bold prediction, Mark Henry.
Not bad. Warhood. Are you eating again?
Maybe.
Give more.
The Paige AJ Lee segment will be a good segment.
Cool beans. Nick, Brian, Andrew.
To further steal Warhood's trolling job, Cage is the biggest heel in the company.
We didn't tell him to do anything.
And
Come on.
my bold prediction is that Brock Lesnar will F5 somebody tonight.
Mine is that we're going to see a Sting vignette.
Mine is definitely another Paul Heyman epic promo. Let's see.
Patrick, number 1.
My hashtag bold prediction tonight is we are going to see a impromptu IC or US championship match.
Interesting. Could happen. Patrick, number 2.
John Cena is going to bring it via satellite.
Via satellite. Ryan.
Cena's gonna double A Heyman tonight.
I like that prediction. And my bold prediction is that Chris Wilder will probably never be a post-wrestling warm-up again. But I actually had a great time tonight. I hope everyone that was watching enjoyed the show as well. The Raw pre-show starts in 3 minutes, and then Raw starts at 8 o'clock. Obviously, after the show, Catch Wrestle Reaction, our friends Nick, Frank Manzo, and Joe Omega. I don't know who the show is. Nick, are you on Wrestle Reaction too, Nick? Nick, you're probably on the show too, but you know what I mean.
The title and the name drop. Wow.
Exactly. This is why I never host the show, guys. This is why I never host the show. But
You've now been demoted to 9th in rotation.
There you go. But yeah, like I said, I've always had fun. Silence, everyone! How can I close the show if you're all talking? But yeah,
I'll be hosting the show sooner before you do again.
That's probably true. But at the same time, I had a great time hosting the show tonight. I filled in for Doug McDonald. He'll likely be back next week. Enjoy Raw, everybody. We'll be live tweeting on the WrestleRumors account. You can follow me on Twitter at Walder Sports. On behalf of the entire panel, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.